morning, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to another weekend. Come on. Here we go. Grab your coffee, take a seat, relax. Come on, we gotta go wake our birds up. Let's get this aligned for the pilots, get it all ready. Get this beautiful bird ready to go. The alignment process is not just with the knobs. You also have to initialize it through the MCDU. It's got to initialize it and it will pull the data automatically. Pretty smart. It'll do it in a second. It's going to look at the GPS locations and there it is. There's the uplink. It's going to pull all the data that they need. Okay, so let's talk about this. This is actually a very complex system and it talks to a multitude of computers. I'm going to try to simplify it as much as possible. So initially what you saw me doing is turn those knobs, the ADRUs, Air Data Inertial Reference Units. There's 3 of them on the Airbus 320 family, and once you initiate them, a sequence of events starts occurring. There's 3 primary systems that you need to focus on right here. First is the panel that you're looking at. That's called the MCDU, Multi-Purpose Control and Display Unit. This is how pilots and maintenance interface with the aircraft systems. The other 2 systems are dealing with communication and navigation. The ones we want to focus on is GPS and a system called ACARS and ATSU. ATSU standing for Air Traffic Service Unit, and ACARS standing for Aircraft Communication Addressing and Reporting System. You know what? I lied. There's one more system. It's an antenna, actually. It's called the VHF-3 antenna. Very high frequency. So let's picture this. It's the beginning of the day. It's a brand new flight. The aircraft is getting ready, or we are getting the aircraft ready to fly, or the pilots are. They need to initialize these reference units and activate the GPS antenna. The GPS antenna will locate the aircraft and give it its position. But that's not enough. Pilots also need a flight plan. This is where the other systems kick in. The aircraft will get in contact with the ACAR system to the AOC, which stands for Airline Operation Control. Airline will send all the pertinent data for any kind of flight plan or even a backup flight plan. The way this happens is utilizing the VHF number 3 system because it's mostly used to send data back and forth. But that's not all. You're going to get a lot more information being uploaded, such as takeoff data, wind data, flight summary reports, and also broadcast data. It takes about 10 minutes for the whole system to completely initialize and set all the parameters within the MCDU. Now, this is a huge relief for the pilots because they don't have to input this data manually. Because in the olden days, that's how they used to do it. Input all the GPS coordinates, all the flight plans, the destination, the originating station. Nowadays, it's simply an automatic function. A press of a button, and you have everything that you need. Now, there are times when the ACAR system or the ATSU system fails, and we can defer it. Pilots don't like that at all. And like I said, they have to sit there and manually input all of this. As I said, a very complicated system. I'm not even getting into the factors of the satellites that are in orbit. Believe it or not, there's like 66 low orbit satellites that actually send data via the GPS signals. Even called a buddy of mine, Captain, a good friend of mine, Captain Brandon. If you're watching this, thank you so much for the conversation and just going back and forth and understanding the system together. In any case, this is as simple as I can make it. I hope it made sense to you. Let's keep on going. We got more airplanes to come. All right, this beauty just came in from Dallas. It's gonna go back out to Hawaii. That means ETOPS check. Tire pressures, engine oil, the usual. And we'll do a quick little tire pressure check as well. Perfect, sitting right around, let's see, 160, 175, that's pretty good. Quick little inspection. Brakes and tires looking nice and healthy. And we'll do the main gear as well, or tire pressures on the main wheel as well. So gear door is already down. We'll go check that out in a second. I got the IDG panel here. Already popped it open. Make sure levels are good, which they are, and the Delta P is not popped. Perfect. And my partner's doing APU up there. Here we go. Here's your barking dog. Woof. Quick little inspection up here. Everything looking nice and clean. This is actually one of the new Neos we have. Yeah, this one's brand new. We'll go check the data plate upstairs. Gorgeous. I love a clean airplane. Got a nice clean post flight. Got the APU hours. Everything's looking beautiful. This airplane's nice and clean. Actually, one of the brand new ones. I just checked the date. It was 2023, like February 24th. I've talked about ETOPS checks many times and multitude of videos that I perform them and show you various things that I inspect. If you are new here, I highly recommend go back and watch some of my older videos and you'll understand and see what it takes to perform this check. But in this particular sequence, I'm showing you that we inspect all emergency equipment because that's one of the components or one of the factors that actually qualifies an aircraft to become ETOPS rated. Well, I'm glad they got everything back in working order again.
What was wrong?
The system went down.
Oh, right, the computer stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. I wasn't here yesterday, fortunately.
Lucky.
Yeah.
What me and the first officer were talking about there is the recent events that happened in the previous week. The whole issue with the CrowdStrike software issue. Yeah, it was a big fiasco, caused a lot of delays. It's still causing a lot of delays. It was a domino effect. You have to understand that. If one flight gets delayed, then the next one gets delayed, and the next one, then the next one. It becomes a nightmare. I know somebody asked me my opinion on it, but I really don't have an opinion. This is beyond my work scope. Maintenance has got nothing to do with that. We just make sure the airplanes are maintained well and flying safely. But going back to what I'm doing here, I'm actually changing the ACARS printer paper. Now, if you noticed, earlier I showed you this image, right? And notice the edges of that paper. Notice how it's kind of pinkish, a little purple. Well, that means the paper is almost out. The roll is almost out of paper. That means I gotta change it. Now, usually either the first officer or the captain will change the roll of paper because they're qualified to do this because they also have spares within the flight deck. But I was already there and I just said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. You focus on your flight plan and getting the aircraft set up. So this is me changing the roll of paper. And by the way, that's actually thermal paper, just like receipts that you get from a shopping store. So there's no ink involved in here. After all said and done, I press the slew button, which is right there at the corner, and the paper comes out. I also do a print check. I will print out a post-flight report just to make sure it's working correctly. If you're paying attention to what the first officer is also doing besides setting up his flight plan and the aircraft, he's cleaning the flight deck, his surroundings. Remember, you guys always ask me who's responsible for cleaning up the flight deck and all the screens and whatnot. Pilots usually do it. If I make the mess, I'll clean it up. But overall, it is the pilot's responsibility for keeping their work area clean. Ops check good, everything was well, said goodbye to the flight crew. On to the next airplane. Let's go. Uh-oh. What's missing? Yeah, the canoe ferry, or the movable ferry. Don't worry, this is completely legal. It's on CDL, but we gotta go up there, re-inspect it, and give it a nice lubrication. Yeah. Don't freak out, this is okay. Okay, I'm gonna stop right here before y'all have a panic attack. This is okay. This is on deferral, and it's actually legal for the aircraft to fly like this. There is a deferral program called CDL, Configuration Deviation List. There's a variety of things within this list or this deferral program that can be applied to the aircraft, and the aircraft can be deemed airworthy again. And when I say legal, I genuinely mean it's legal. It's approved by the FAA and the ICAO and the manufacturer. Reason we're able to remove that movable fairing, or the canoe as we like to call it, because it's a non-structural component. It's only there to serve as an aerodynamic shield. So in this particular situation, the canoe or the movable fairing had gotten damaged. So we did not have the components or the time, so we had to remove it completely. It's better to remove a damaged component than having a damaged component be attached or having it fall off during flight. As soon as we receive the parts and the aircraft has ground time, we will reinstall it. But before that happens, every single flight, this has to be inspected, making sure there's no damage, there's no issues. Also, we have to re-lubricate the fittings, making sure that you got proper lubrication on those tracks. So I went and grabbed my handy dandy grease gun, went up there, make sure everything's intact, and lubricated it. But there's another catch to this. The aircraft will take a penalty. Since the aerodynamic properties of the aircraft have now been disturbed, the aircraft penalties will be towards the fuel and the weight. Pilots will take this data and input it into their flight plan, and they will adjust accordingly. Dear pilots, feel free to add more to this and give more context and let the people know how you compensate or adjust for this kind of issue. But once again, I just wanted to reassure you the aircraft is still okay to fly, so please don't worry if you see this. Matter of fact, you're going to see it again later on in this video. The next time you're going to see it on a cargo door. Okay, we're done here. Let's keep on moving. We got more stuff to do. Next office. All right, I promised you were gonna check and compare fuel this time. You think I was joking, huh? There you go, come on. Got the sump tool? Let's take out what color fuel is and argue over that for about 3 days. That should be fun. All right, we'll put it in a clear cup so nobody says I'm lying. There you go. Get a little fuel in there. That should be enough. And that's your water drain valve. That's how you get any kind of water out of the belly or the lowest portion of the tank. The rest of this is just condensation. Don't worry, it's not fuel. Anyway, let's go check this out in a cup. Okay, here we go. Got this thing removed. Here's our clear cup. And let's pour. Okay. To me, it's clear. Now somebody's gonna be in the comments telling me it's straw colored. It looks clear to me. And that's jet fuel for you. Jet A, I should say. Okay. Feel free to argue over it. Okay, while you guys argue over what color your jet fuel is, let's go back to communications. We are back inside of an Airbus, and what you're looking at is the RMP, the radio management panel. Right below it is the ACP, the audio control panel. The controls are fairly simple. It's very easy to use. The ACP is very simple. It controls the volume, and you can select which VHF system you want to speak on, and a variety of other things. I want to focus on the RMP. Also very easy to use. You select the frequency you want on the selector knob right there, which will display within the standby area. Then you hit the green transfer switch and it'll go into the active side. After which you can select VHF 1, 2, or whichever the selection that you need right there, and then you can utilize that frequency. Now, a very interesting thing happens, and it's got to do with that cell indicator light, and it's not to be confused with cell call. That's completely different. Pay close attention to what I do. You have to remember this. RMP1 is dedicated to VHF1. RMP2, which is on the FO side, is dedicated to VHF2. Now watch what happens when I put them on the same frequency. Look what lights up. Did you catch it? That little cell indicator light is to indicate the interaction between the different RMPs. Each time the system operates in a different configuration, which basically is cross selection, hence cell, meaning selection, the cell indicator light on the two RMPs come on. For example, if VHF2 transceiver is selected on RMP1, the cell indicator light will come on RMP1 and RMP2. This is because, as I said earlier, RMP1 is dedicated to VHF1. RMP2 is dedicated to VHF2. But nevertheless, it's also possible to control the operating frequencies on any of the transceivers, on 1 or 2. Boeing aircraft work exactly the same way. I hope all this made sense. Anyway, come on, let's keep going.
Next, August, back to the wide body. Where'd you think you were? Alright, we're gonna get this thing ready, and it just came in from Miami, and it's going back out to Heathrow, London. ETOPS flight, as always. Walk around, cargoes, engine oils, the usual. Hello, beautiful. Another successful ETOPS. And this beauty is ready to fly out to London. It was actually fairly simple. Nice and easy, no issues, no problems. Oh, don't forget the fidget spinner. Alrighty, on to the next one. You know, before we go, I think I remember somebody asking, what does it look like above the 777 overhead panels? Well, these are modular, as you can see. Just a little screw, and the unit will just one singular panel will come out, or a Zeus fastener, I think they call them. But above the circuit breaker panels, here's what this looks like over here. Just two of them holding it. Press that little button. That's it. Nothing really fancy. Well, just wiring and candle plug and all the fun stuff that you see here. Same thing behind this. And behind these things you got circuit cards. Here. Yeah, behind these are circuit cards.
Let's geek out here for 2 seconds and let me explain to you what these circuit cards are for. So there's two sets of them, left and right, and each side has two cards. The cards are called OPICs, Overhead Panel Interface Cards. They're in direct communication with the OPBC, the Overhead Panel Bus Controllers. So these OPICs are multiplex receiver inputs from the panel switches. It selects a signal from one switch at a time and sends it to the microprocessor. After which, the microprocessor sends the switch position data to the serial port. The switch also sends the data back to the microprocessor. And also it sends data to the demultiplexer. And the demultiplexer controls the output of the lights. Lots of fancy words there, right? But to simplify it for you, it is a monitoring system. What it does is basically sends flight deck switch position for on and off, gathers data and also sends data to the Airing 629 data bus for flight deck lights. It monitors faults for the central maintenance computer, the CMC. In case there is a fault, it's responsible for lighting up the fault light on the overhead panel. And it also reports any kind of failure to the flight crew via the ICAS. That's where you get the status messages. There you go. Anyway, since I got everybody nice and confused and hope I didn't lose any of you there, let's go look at some cool cars. Let's take a break from airplanes.
As always, cargo never disappoints. Never ever. Oh my goodness. What a beauty. I don't even know what that is. I'm starting to realize I don't know many models of cars, but hey, I love seeing them. Look at that. That is immaculate. Absolutely gorgeous. Forge? Am I saying that right? I don't know. Oh, here we go. Well, there it is. It tells you exactly what it is. What a beauty. There's two other cars here. I am not sure what these are. They're pretty well covered up. But I don't know. You guys take a guess. Definitely some kind of a race sports mobile or something. See if you can guess. And no, I'm not going to lift the covers and touch it. Not my property. But sure does look interesting. Yeah, take your best guess. There's another one actually on the other side of this. Take a look. That one's also covered up. I think you can make out what it says in the letters here. I'm not sure. Can you make it out? I don't know what that is. But yeah, this one's even bigger. Looks like it's got lovely body lines. Don't know what that is though. Pretty cool though. Looks like straight out of science fiction. Oh my god. Oh, this poor airplane needs a paint job so badly. Oh, and before we go, there's a lovely Porsche. Let's go look at this thing. This one doesn't look like any other Porsche I've seen. It's a little bit odd looking. This must be some kind of a special edition. It has to be. Oh, it's a Barab? Oh, okay, okay. Now I know why it looks different. It's a Barabbas edition. Nice. Very nice. I'm sure this costs a pretty penny. Gorgeous looking car. I personally have never seen a Porsche with the Barabbas kit or the edition. I only thought they did it for Mercedes, but look at that. And there you go. If you're a Raiders fan, there's your airplane. Let's go back to work. End of the road for today. This is the last flight. All I have to do is just really oil it. It's going to stay overnight for maintenance. That's it. I'll see you guys bright and early in the morning. Later. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another day. Let's pick up some of this FOD. So, don't want no ingestion. That smells good. It smells real good. Love the smell of jet fuel in the morning. Smells like victory. And here comes our first office. Coming up from the hangar. Do a quick little walk around. And then we got a 787 coming up later on in the day. Should be a nice day. Weather's beautiful. Now, I've talked a lot about the 737 tail section, everything from APU exhaust, even the tail strike, but this is the part I've never talked about. See that little panel? I want to show you what's behind there. And here we go. There's a multitude of components, but we're going to focus on just two of them. But don't worry, I'll give you a nice schematic that gives you an overall view of everything. What you're looking at there is the elevator feel and centering unit. Its primary purpose is to give variable feel force to the pilot. It also moves the control column into a neutral position when there's no input. The actuator you saw there is called a dual feel actuator. At high speeds, the elevator feel computer will increase the metered pressure to the dual feel actuator. It's getting pressure from both systems, System A and System B. There are centering cams that rotate and also centering linkages that pull against the highest of the two computed pressures. In doing so, this will add adjustable extra feel force for the pilots. This is especially very important when the aircraft is encountering a stall condition, because it will increase the feel on the control column. As we move to the side, we're going to see this component. This is the elevator power control unit, or better known as the PCU. There are two of them, one on the left and one on the right. The right PCU gets pressure from System B, the left PCU gets pressure from System A. The primary job of the PCU is to move the elevators. During normal operations, the elevator input goes through the input torque tube, as you can see right there in the schematic. It will either push up or pull down. And once again, through various linkages, it will move the elevator up and down. And don't confuse the elevator with the horizontal stabilizer. Two different things. If there was a failure within one of those PCUs, the other one will take over. A bypass valve will open and allow pressure. This will connect two sides of the actuator and prevent any kind of hydraulic lock. This also ties into the manual reversion portion. So let's say if you lose both of the PCUs, you can still move that elevator up and down. And as promised, here you go, a grand schematic of the entirety of the system so you can get a good idea of what it looks like. Feel free to pause and read through it and check it out. It's pretty cool. It's a very simplistic design, but also very complicated. Hope you guys enjoyed it. The big silver thing is the exhaust of the APU. I took this footage when I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma at our MRO facility, so it's pretty cool to see the aircraft in super heavy check. You can also see the underbelly, or excuse me, underneath the wing with all the panels removed.
They're doing a heavy inspection on this. But yeah, enjoy the view, and then we'll keep on moving.
Let's see. Everything should be a-okay with this one. Like I said, I just came in from the hangar, but still do a quick little walk around. Looking good. Actually nice and clean. Up next on the menu, back to the Plastic Princess. Gotta get this one ready. It's gonna go out to Japan, Haneda. Do a little bit of a walk around, then my partner will take over. We're gonna go upstairs and check out some write-ups we got up. Should be good.
My partner proceeded to do the rest of the walk around and the cargoes and told me go upstairs, take care of the write-ups and do the interior. They still had not connected the jet bridge to the aircraft, so I took the opportunity to show you guys how they do that. So this is it. The gate agents are the ones that are responsible for moving the jet bridge up to the aircraft and also pulling it away. Interestingly enough, there's actually a little marker. It's a little yellow dot right at the forward of that door. You'll see it right now. I'll zoom into it. It's a marker to align the jet bridge with the door. Basically a reference point. You see on the jet bridge at the floor sill, you see a yellow little line. That yellow line needs to align with that yellow dot. That means it is perfectly aligned.
Just a small little adjustment.
Most of the interior items are pretty easily fixed. This tray table was just drooping a little too much, so a quick little adjustment did the job.
Never fails, these coffee makers always never want to brew. Ugh, that's all right, we'll just change it out.
These new coffee makers are consistently failing. I don't know what's up with this new design, but they don't last long at all. Even the vendors that we send them back to, they can't repair them fast enough and bring them back to us. At one point, we almost ran out of coffee makers, but luckily enough, we had one in stock, so I pulled this one and got a new one. But once again, that's a super easy change. We got the ETOPS completed and sent the airplane on its way, and here's what it looks like when the jet bridge gets pulled away from the airplane.
Another one done. Yesterday, took a 777 out for a walk. Today, take the Plastic Princess out for a walk. Look at that, look at that. Yep, panel is missing because it's on CDL. Remember our conversation earlier about the flap track fairing or the movable fairing? Same thing, it's on CDL. The panel was damaged. Also, the same rules apply. Penalty to the aircraft, but not as severe. Every component has a different penalty. Same rules apply. You have to reinspect it at every single flight. And it gives us a good opportunity to see what's underneath the panel. Enjoy. Configuration deviation list. Totally legal. And the fact that you can see all the latches is pretty cool. We have to inspect it before it leaves. Before you ask, it's called mid-span shrouds. That's why it makes that noise. I made a whole video about that. Check it out. You guys ever wonder how we measure tire wear? Tire depth gauge. Let me show you how to read one. Zero it out. This one reads in 30 seconds of an inch. So whichever line gets closest, so it goes in rotary fashion. Look, 8 doesn't see it, 9 doesn't see it, but it's very close to 10, but not 11. So right around 10, 30 seconds of an inch. Watch, you can confirm. See? That's how you read a depth gauge. There are certain limitations of how much wear a tire can have. During line maintenance operations, especially during the daytime where the aircraft is active and about to go flying, the limit is usually 1/32 of an inch. During nighttime operation, when the aircraft is overnighting and maintenance is occurring, the limit is about 2/32 of an inch, and it's also depending on the type of aircraft. All this information and all this data is given to us through the aircraft maintenance manuals. And that's how you read a tire depth gauge. I'm using the 6-inch scale just to confirm, to show you guys. Hey, would you look at that? Look what came in. Man, I haven't seen this livery in quite some time. So, classic Air Cal. That's nice. Good looking bird. I always enjoy seeing the retro liveries. It gives homage to the older airlines that don't exist anymore, and it's pretty cool. The rest of the day went pretty uneventful. Everything was smooth. Worked another 777, pushed this one out, and I walked alongside this one as well. You guys really enjoyed that last GE90 starting up, so I put that one in there too. I'll leave the volume up just for you guys. I know you love the sound of that thing. Well, we're in our last bird. Something interesting I noticed. Look at this. Total fuel on board that's left. About close to 12,000. Look how much fuel was burned. This thing came from Boston. It's coming here, and then it's going to fly right back to Boston. But look how much fuel it burned. This is a combination of engine 1 and engine 2. This thing takes a lot of fuel, believe it or not. It's an Airbus 321. If I remember correctly, the center tank can hold about 14.5. Each wing tank around 13.5, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the ACT tanks can hold about 5,000 each. So yeah, this thing can carry a lot of fuel for a narrow body aircraft. Pretty incredible. Yeah. Alrighty. Make sure everything's A-okay. Walk through the cabin, and we'll call it a day. But regardless of that, came with a clean post-flight, which I love, which means a good, happy ending to my night. Hope you all have fun. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next adventure. Later.
That's about it for this adventure, guys. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for watching and asking your beautiful questions. I'm still trying to catch up with the comments, guys, so please be patient with me. But I'll leave you with this beautiful 747, Queen of the Sky, and she even slowed down for us too. Take care of yourselves. Stig, signing out. Later.